Hey guys, what's going on? Inception here and welcome to another video today. Today I'm going to be making a video that I've done, I believe, last year or 2 years ago, which is the best players in each position tutorial. Now, as you guys know, FIFA nowadays is incredibly meta-oriented. It's always been meta. Every single year there's a meta for a certain team, but you know, in previous years of FIFA, a long time ago, we used to be able to use like silvers, bronzes, and golds, but nowadays you really got to get those icons and those really good players in order for you to really do well in games like FUT Champs and for you to really play to your full potential. So I'm going to be making this video to show you guys what I think would be the best players in each position. This is the expensive version of it, but obviously I have my own versions of it, and we're going to be talking about each position and why each player makes that position very valid and where they are. So we're going to start off with the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper, the obvious one, is David De Gea. The cheap option, right? So there's this one, which is the strong team. And then there's the team that I am currently using right now, which is, I believe it is this one. Yeah, so there's this one here too. This is mine on the Xbox. So, you know, I'm going to be talking about each position again. This is not necessarily a cheaper version. I have the cheap version on my PlayStation. I'll leave a link in the bio of the 4-1-2-2 tactics and instructions of the team that I use. It's cheaper. I forgot that I wasn't on the PlayStation right now. But yeah, we're gonna go back to the main squad here, and we're gonna talk about each position. So basically, you want to be very careful with the players that you put in each position nowadays, because you don't want to have, I would say, a detriment in your team. You want to have each position being covered to its full potential. So it's really unfortunate that nowadays it's very hard to come across you know, center mids and CDMs that are the full meta in order for you to play to your full potential, because it's very difficult. You know, back in the day, it was easy to use players that had the pace and the dribbling as your center mids, and then as a CDM, you just needed someone who had pace. And the defending and physical didn't even used to be that big of a deal, right? Because they used to get the ball anyways. So, you know, back in the day, we used to always have Ramirez, and then we no longer have Ramirez. So nowadays, you have to get players like Bakayoko. There's a couple of informs that are decent. You can get people like Fabinho. Fabinho would be decent as well. But it's very difficult to get the full meta in your team. So I'll tell you guys some cheap options that you can use, right? So with the fullbacks, we have Valencia. This is the Inform Valencia card. His regular card is, I wouldn't say it's just as good, because I've tried his Inform and it's very, very good. The regular Valencia card, the reason why this card is really good, right, is because he's 5'11", he has the high work rates, and he's basically a good all-round player. If you want to be aggressive with him, right, and you want to have your fullbacks always overlapping, 70 shooting with 62 finishing and 85 composure is not a bad thing at all. Because if you really want to use those always overlapping tactics, you could just put a hunter card on him and he'll be better at the finishing. Not amazing, but he'll be better, right? So this card will be very ideal to get. You can get players like Kyle Walker, a regular Valencia. Aurier is the cheaper option, the guy from Spurs. You can get Florenzi, and you can use that triangle formation where you have Florenzi, Manolas, and Nangolan. We'll get to that in a bit. Other right backs that would be good. I wouldn't even suggest Kyle Walker. I genuinely don't like Kyle Walker this year. I think Valencia is 10 times better than he is in this game, just because of the work rates, the height, and just positioning. Like, Kyle Walker was always caught out of position, so I wasn't a huge fan of that. But yeah, if you can get fullbacks that have high work rates, that's the most preferable one, because it's nice when they attack and defend, they come back on the defense really quickly. With that pace, it's very important. If your player doesn't have that much pace, he won't come back on the defense quickly. So Valencia would definitely be ideal. You can get high medium. I believe Marcelo is high medium, because, you know, again, you can't get everything to be perfect. You gotta kind of work around the situation, right? So that's the fullbacks. The same thing goes for Marcelo and Valencia. Valencia is right-footed on the right side. Marcelo is left-footed on the left side. This Team of the Year Marcelo card is absolutely filthy, because he may be 5'9", but he has 88 jumping, so, and he has the strength and the aggression. So if someone tries to cross the ball in, he won't do a terrible job at trying to block that cross coming in, right? So his card absolutely just kills it for me as a left back. You can get players like Alexandro. Alexandro is an incredible left back. He has the physical, defensive capabilities. And his attacking is actually quite decent because he's a strong player. So he's very good. You can get Alaba and you can rock the Alaba, Boateng, Vidal triangle formation to get that chemistry with the Farman and net, because Farman would give the chemistry boost with Boateng being German and from the same league. With the goalkeepers, of course, we have De Gea, leg save trait. That's the biggest thing, right? When a goalkeeper has good all-around stats, it's good to have a goalkeeper that has good all-around stats, but also has that leg save trait. That's why Farman and De Gea are the goalies that always cause you the most trouble. It's because of that specific leg save trait that they have, right? You can get Neuer, and Neuer won't even be close to good as Farman just because of that leg save trait. Now, that leg save trait doesn't mean that they're the only two good goalkeepers that do it, because there are goalkeepers that do it as well. Courtois sometimes does it, Neuer sometimes does it, but it's not a consistent thing. The thing that you want in your squad is consistency, right? So when you have Farman, you have De Gea, they actually have the trait on their card, whereas other goalkeepers that have good stats don't. So they're more consistent at making those leg saves. With the center backs, I think the cheap options that you always go with is honestly Boateng and Bailly. They're not necessarily cheap, but they're the ones that, you know, you can make that triangle formation. Like if you use Bailly, you can use Bailly, Valencia, and Herrera or Mkhitaryan like I've been using. When you use Boateng, again, you can use Vidal and Alaba. So it's just to get that chemistry around the squad. There's not really other players that you can really do that with that are good all-round center backs, midfielders, and fullbacks, right? So with the center backs, you can get center backs that are medium, high, medium, high. Back in the day, I used to not suggest getting players with high, medium, but nowadays, aggressive defending with players like Sergio Ramos definitely seems to be the ish nowadays, right? Because when a player makes a pass and you have your pressure and aggression really high, Sergio Ramos is that type of guy that will aggressively get that ball back. And he's a very good center back. Like, he feels good on and off the ball. So you can get Sergio Ramos, Boateng, Bailly. I wouldn't suggest players like Koscielny, because Koscielny, he lacks in the physical department. Physical is very important. The reason why a player like Eric Bailly is basically relatable to legends in this game is because of certain stats that he has, right? So with Eric Bailly, he has 85 strength with 87 aggression. His acceleration is 75 and his sprint speed is 80. I'm boosting that pace with that physical that I don't boost, because I'd rather his interceptions, his standing tackles, and slide tackles be better, because, you know, the AI defense basically doing the slide tackles and blocking for you. With the physical being that, he's an absolute monster. Eric Bailly would actually play better than most legends in this game, right? So I would definitely take that into consideration. The team that I currently have, where I have like Gabriel Jesus, Martial, and all of that, Bailly and Valencia are the only full meta players that I can think about, because with Boateng and Alaba lacks in the physical department, and he could be faster. Even though with Shadow Card he is genuinely pretty fast. Boateng's actually not that bad, but he's not Eric Bailly. Eric Bailly is amazing, and then Boateng's kind of like meh, right? So again, with the center backs, you get medium, high. Make sure that you get center backs that have the pace, defending, and physical. Everything else honestly doesn't really matter. If your player has 50 passing and 65 dribbling, it doesn't really matter that much. It does when you're thinking about a full meta, like if you're a competitive player, yes, obviously it does. But if you have players that don't have good dribbling and don't have good passing, it honestly doesn't matter, because the center backs are not going to be making that much crazy passes anyway. So these are definitely the two center backs that I would definitely be using if you guys have the money. Now, I'm using the 4-3-2-1 only because I want to show you guys that this formation is the best formation to get chemistry with, right? So you can rotate chemistry with the squad. You can switch to a 4-1-2-2, a 4-2-3-1, right? But that's the reason why I'm showing you guys this formation. So I would actually use Patrick Vieira as a CDM. And the reason being is because he has medium-high, and he's basically the perfect player. He has the pace and he has the defense. He has everything, right? He's honestly perfect, bar the weak foot, and I believe the finishing is low as well. That is the only two things wrong with him, because if you actually give Patrick Vieira a shadow card, he will be a god defensively, but if you give him a hunter card, he'll actually be able to shoot the ball a lot of times for you. So Patrick Vieira would definitely be a good player. Medium high is the best option that you can have. Now, this year, the good CDMs that are cheap, like Bakayoko and Fabinho, those guys have medium. Medium isn't really the most preferred work rates that you want to have for your team. So you definitely want to use a player like Patrick Vieira that has medium high so that he actually stays back most of the times and he's got high defensive work rate. So it outweighs the attacking presence, right? With players like Ruud Gullit, this year you can have players that have high medium on the center mid sides. Because if you have the pace and defensive capabilities to come back, they will come back, right? So with someone like Ruud Gullit, he has high medium, but look at his stats. He's 6'3", he's got a 5-star weak foot, 4-star skill moves. He's perfect. There's literally nothing wrong with this card. You can boost his defensive capabilities because his shooting capabilities are already very, very good. So if you give him a shadow card, he'll be an absolute monster for you on the pitch. Cheap options you can get nowadays, there's not really many, right? The Gullit is the only player that, for me, like the way that I think about this game is that he's the only player that is full meta oriented for a center mid. He's the perfect one, right? Because I have Mateus in the team. Mateus has got the pace, he's got all that, but he is 5'9", right? But that doesn't really matter because all of his card stats kind of make up for it. He won't really win the ball in the air that much for you. You know, his acceleration is amazing, which is very important for defending, right? You can use someone like an informed Goretzka on this side because if you were to actually do that and take out... we wouldn't even be able to do that because Marcelo would be on 7, which necessarily wouldn't be a problem in all honesty. But Goretzka even wouldn't get full chem either. So yeah, we would have to use someone like Mateus. We got French players in here, Portuguese, Brazilian. Not really much you can go with in those situations. So yeah, Mateus would definitely be a pretty decent center mid. If you were going to go in game, I would definitely switch Gullit with Mateus and go from there. Other cheap options for center mids, I've been using Mkhitaryan, but Mkhitaryan lacks in defensive presence. He doesn't have defensive stats, doesn't have physical stats. You can use Herrera, but Herrera's slow. The only center mid that seems worth it in terms of the price that you're paying for and the quality that you're getting is the Informed Goretzka card, which I have in my team right here. So this card right here is probably one of the best meta players you can get that isn't an icon card. It's very tough to get a player similar to Goretzka who has the pace, shooting, defending, physical, height, and just everything capability, essentially, right? He does attack a lot of the times depending on how you rock your formations, right? So if I were to actually put a better card on him, I would probably put Gladiator so his defending would be higher and his shooting would be better so that his finishing would be higher, because 79 composure doesn't help it too much, but if you make the finishing better and the defending better, he'll definitely be a force to be reckoned with. So in all honesty, you might even be able to switch him here. No, you can't because English and Ecuador. So yes, this is the team for the midfield. Instructions that you can rock is like stay back while attacking, leave the center mids on balance, or you could keep them on stay back while attacking. And the reason why you might want to keep them on stay back while attacking is because their work rates kind of outweighs the tactics and instructions sometimes, right? So it depends on your tactics and instructions. If you have high passing and high crossing, these guys will push in regardless of you having them on stay back while attacking. So you have to be kind of careful of that. So those are the cheap options. There's Bakayoko, you can get Herrera, Goretzka. You can get second and four Moy. Second and four Moy wouldn't be a bad card to use. Anybody else I can't really think of right now in terms of players who are all-around good players. The striking lineup, obviously this is perfect, except for Messi's height, but it honestly doesn't matter because his dribbling outweighs the fact that he doesn't have the height and his finishing is disgusting. The striking force, if you have money, obviously you want physical presence as your strikers, so when you cross the ball in, they can win it. When you shoot with your weak foot, they can score with their weak foot. If you do 5-star skill moves, they can both do 5-star skill moves. Team of the Year Messi is a player who I would be using as a cam. If you're using the 4-3-2-1, I wouldn't suggest using Messi on the right side unless you're cutting in and doing a far-range finesse shot with him. So I would definitely use Messi over here on the left side because of those low-driven shots, right? So, but the cheap options you can have up front, you can have the Inform William card, who has been very decent for me. So I've been liking him a lot. The high work rates as a cam is very nice. You can get someone like Gabriel Jesus, who doesn't have the physical capabilities at all, but his dribbling and his finishing is very good. And you could get someone like Martial, who's probably the best striker you can get in the game for the price that you're paying for. Like, he's not expensive. He's got the pace, the physical, the weak foot, and the skill moves to get past people. But his finishing sometimes lacks because of the lack of, you know, composure. I think Martial's composure might be in the range of 78, I believe, or 79. So it's not too high. So sometimes he'll miss opportunities if there's pressure on him. 78 composure, yeah. So you definitely have to put like a hunter card on him, make his pace better, or you can make his dribbling better. It's completely down to you. But I would definitely put hunter on him, in my honest opinion. But that's pretty much it, guys, in terms of the team. Again, this is the most ideal team that I would want to make if I wanted to perform consistently, because it has everything that you're missing. When I'm looking at this team, right, the only things that bother me a little bit is the Mateus being short and the Messi being short, right? But in game, I don't think that would really matter that much because they would really perform really well. So I don't even think that would be not much of a problem for me. So other players you could possibly put, if George Best was in this game, George Best would have been amazing as a cam in your team. Anybody else in this team, center mid Mateus, you could switch on Gretzka, but I wouldn't really recommend doing that. Mateus is probably like an absolute monster to use. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it, guys, in terms of the meta that you can get in your team. So this is the expensive option. I've given you guys the cheap options, and yeah. So that's pretty much going to do it for this video today, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys did enjoy it. If you guys did, please drop a thumbs up on it, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.